Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, before I do any shout-outs to the guests who are joining us today, I'm doing a quick shout-out of my own to a rather slow-burning Gofundme campaign that I've got currently running. So if you'd like to share it and nothing else, that would be absolutely wonderful. If you do donate to it, obviously set the tip amount to 0 so that you're not contributing to Gofundme rather than the campaign itself. But a massive shout-out to everyone who's supported the campaign already, which is Abraham Mohammed, Jamal Hicks, Rob Hunston, Chris Berry, and Hannah Koala. Hopefully I said that correctly. But yeah, massive shout out. I will shout out anybody who does happen to contribute to the GoFundMe while this live show is running, so I will shout anybody out who does. I'll stick a link also to it in the live stream, which is currently members only, but you can still see it if you did want to support my GoFundMe campaign. So that link is now in the live stream chat. Massive warm welcome to both what we've decided to call it, Google and Discord panels. Very warm welcome to you all.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
Hello. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Not even from the Google panel.
No, I think you just demolished the guy's assertion that it was physical in the pre-show.
Yes, become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member to hear the rather in-depth debate about a fundamentalist religious assertion that we have a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve, blocking boats and buildings with its physicality, in spite of the fact that the globe rhetoric is currently that we don't see a physical geometric horizon, and that the geometric horizon only exists in the maths, and that we wouldn't expect to see a geometric horizon, and it has no physicality or tangent point nature for it to be geometric. In other words, the Earth curve assumption is dead. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
I believe so.
We got proof.
No, we don't see any deviations anywhere, so it's a definite no.
The guy said, "I believe so." You see 15-degree deviation of the Earth?
Well, no.
What? Speak up.
It's the stars.
Not
You
the
have to
Earth.
be-
Thank you for
Hold
that.
on, guys in Google. You'll have to be a bit more elaborate. It's just the stars. Please elaborate.
When you look up at the night sky, for example, you see the stars going past, and you can tell that is obviously Earth rotating. You have different seasons, which is from the change hitting.
One at a time.
That's from the
Sorry, stars. You said it's obviously Earth
Sorry.
rotating. I don't understand. You'll have to explain that to me.
Well, for example, the way that we've been able to locate stars is using parallax error. And I know you guys love to talk about things that you see. And parallax error is essentially taking, you need I'm pretty sure you can do it on either a globe Earth or a disk Earth if you wanted to. But essentially you need two distant points, so 2 points from which you view the world. And essentially you're able to calculate from that, when you look out to a star, the distance a star is away from the Earth. So from this, we're actually able to see that the world, in relation to everything else in the universe, is actually spinning and moving.
How?
just told you how.
No, you didn't. You told me that you assumed that Earth was a sphere, and that would give you parallax distances. Well, you've got to have an R value. I'm talking. You've got to have an R value to do that. So you would assume Earth's spherical and that you have absolutely astronomical distances. And then you calculate the parallax based on those astronomical distances based on an assumed R value and Earth being a sphere. So that's a whole string of assumptions. It doesn't prove we're spinning. You haven't detailed how it proves we're spinning. You've just detailed a whole string of assumptions about you assuming Earth a sphere. So yet tell us how this proves we spin.
Well, for starters, it proves to us that we're actually in a universe because we've got different distances between stars, right?
Just told you the distances are based on an assumed R value. Didn't you just listen to what I just said?
Well, if you tried it on a disk planet...
Don't tell me about what you're doing on a disk, Earth. I've just asked for proof of axial... Shut up. I'm asking you to prove Earth is spinning. Don't tell me what disk Earth does, unless it's your claim proof that you're trying to justify how disk Earth spins. Now, if you want to do that, fine. But don't misrepresent something that I don't claim, or claim a straw man with some disk Earth, when the question is specifically about you proving Earth spinning. Now, can you do that? So far, you've got stars moving. That's it. That's what you've got so far, and a string of assumptions about Earth being sphere-shaped.
Well, that's the way you want to go with it. I can move on to another point. If you believe that that's...
Don't tell me what I believe. Do you have proof of axial rotation or not?
Have you heard of the Michelson-Morley experiment?
It's not proof of axial rotation.
So the
Come on,
point
dude.
of the Michelson-Morley experiment was so that we could determine...
It's not an experiment. It's not an experiment. It's not an experiment. Stop. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. This is not an experiment. Do you understand?
That's just what it's called.
Couldn't care less.
That's how it's known in history.
I don't care. It's not an experiment, so what you're saying is it's fraud. The fraud is in the title.
You can literally
it's not an experiment. Hello. Can you acknowledge it or give me the independent and dependent variable for the experiment? One or the other. Acknowledge that it's not an experiment, in which case, who cares? It's not establishing the cause empirically of a phenomena we observe in nature. It's definitely not that. It's definitely not going to be proof of Earth rotation either. This is benign in this regards. However, I just want acknowledgement that it's not an experiment. It's in fact fraud if it's in the title as an experiment when it isn't. Or you can justify it as being an experiment by providing the hypothesis. Or just the independent and dependent variable. That's observe phenomena and presume cause. Can you give me those things or not?
I wasn't finished. Can I just finish what I was going to say?
You've told me you've got an experiment and I'm telling you it isn't. What, you just want to babble on with it anyway?
Yeah, because you haven't let me finish.
It's not an experiment.
Okay,
do you
we'll
understand
say it's
that?
Not an experiment. For your sake of the argument, we'll say it's not.
I'm not making this argument. Don't tell me for my sake of the argument. I've asked for proof of axial rotation. You've said Michelson-Morley experiment. It is not an experiment. So what, we should listen to this fraud? No!
Look, I can even put a link in the chat, and you can have a look at it yourself.
It's not proving axial rotation, you dumbo.
I'm not finished.
Did I wake up in 2016?
Hello? It's not proving axial rotation. Furthermore, it's not an experiment. It's an outright fraud and outrage that you should even bring it up.
Nathan, maybe you should let him speak.
Who said that?
The frick's a white knight.
Are you ever going to acknowledge that this fraud is not an experiment, contrary to the title? Or will you give me the independent and dependent variable to justify its experimental title? Which one do you want to do?
I've done the experiment myself.
It's not an experiment. Are you just going to whistle past it 7 times like in the pre-show with your physical assumption bias of a horizon that blocks boats? This isn't an experiment.
What would you define an experiment?
It's actualization of a hypothesis. How's that?
All right.
So give me the hypothesis for this. So give me the hypothesis then.
Okay. The hypothesis of this experiment was to see whether or not there was an ether in the universe, right? Which would essentially be, as you guys probably know already, an atmosphere, because they believe that light had to travel through a medium, right?
Atmosphere is a contradiction in terms, and an experiment is a hypothesis test. I've just explained that to you. Do you not know what a hypothesis is? Because this is just a little story you seem to be telling. Stop talking. You're just telling us a little story. Yes or no? Do you understand what? Stop talking. Stop talking. You're giving us a little story as opposed to a hypothesis. Clearly. I'm not going to ask again because you keep interrupting. You don't know what a hypothesis is. Otherwise, you'd have given me what I asked for 4 times. That's an independent and dependent variable. That would be naturally occurring phenomena and presumed cause of the effect. Not a little story about what it's talking about in the universe.
Okay.
Not okay, dipshit. You're irritating. You keep saying the word experiment and not once have you acknowledged that it is not that. You got white knights telling me I should let you tell me all about this non-experiment fraud when you don't acknowledge that it's not an experiment, it's not proving axial rotation, you're not giving me independent and dependent variables for it, or acknowledging that it's just a fraud.
Well, if I call it Michelson-Morley, it just sounds silly.
I don't care. I want axial rotation proof, not a justification for the silly title.
Okay. I'll tell you the dependent and independent variable.
Excellent.
Right? So, the light, right, is supposed to, this is what they hypothesized, that
Sorry,
the light
just
would go
dependent
through
variable. Is it light? Is dependent variable light?
Sure.
So what's the
Look,
cause
I'll
of
be
light?
honest.
Okay, so the phenomena studied is light. And the cause of light is the presumed cause, independent variable?
So you had the light, right? And
Yeah,
the
that's our phenomena
hypothesis
studied.
was-
Yes, that's our dependent variable. Yes, we've got half a hypothesis. Yes, we've got DV, light. So we're studying light. What's the independent variable?
Yes.
The presumed cause in the experiment.
So, it would go through a mirror and come back.
Sorry, a mirror.
But
You're
the
saying that a
mirror-
mirror causes light. Mirror's the independent variable,
No.
is it?
So you'd have your, right, here's the change, right? So you would send out light in 2 directions, right? And your idea is that
Sorry,
the light...
don't tell me the method. Just tell me the presumed cause. Hello?
When you mean
Hypothesis.
presumed cause,
Independent and dependent
Do you
variable.
mean the final result?
No.
Or do you
Listen
mean-
carefully, you
I'm
thicko.
trying to double check. I'm trying to be so
Listen.
careful here with my
Listen.
words.
Hello? Thicko. Listen. I've said it about 7 times. The independent and dependent variable for this experiment, which it isn't. So far, you've given us a dependent variable, if you like, of light. So we're studying the cause of light. Now, you're too stupid to realise that already this has nothing to do with Earth turn. And apparently
Well,
this
I'm getting
experiment, while he talks through me because he's a wanker, the experiment is apparently ascertaining the cause of light.
No.
No! No, that's right. You're claiming this is somehow proof of axial rotation, my friend. But yet, when we get down to the non-hypothesis and I ask you for the dependent variable, you say it's light. Was that a snigger?
Can I just...
What, get
No,
teabagged?
it was a
You can.
sign.
You can
I just
get
wanna-
teabagged a lot. That's happening right now. Were you unaware that your nonsense is being
No, you
torn
can't
to
tell a
pieces
story.
by a flat earther? That's what's happening while you snigger.
I didn't snicker, I sighed.
Yeah, while you sigh, yeah, your nonsense, complete misapprehensions of science, non-understanding of experimentation and hypothesis, claims that this proves axial rotation and then claiming that the phenomena is light. All of this stupidity is being ripped to shreds by a flat earther for an audience live. Fun, huh?
It's because I haven't been able to finish what I wanted to say. I just wanted to...
Yeah, because you start with nonsense and it immediately gets interrupted by me when you say things like experiment and then tell me that the DV is light and fail to give me an IV, cause of light.
It's not that we're trying to find the cause of light. It was...
Well, then why did you tell me that the dependent variable was light? Is it that you don't understand what a hypothesis or an experiment is? You told me that, you dumb fuck.
I'm trying to get this right, okay?
Yeah, and you're not. You're an idiot. And as I say, you trying to get it right for a live audience is resulting in a flat earther ripping you to shreds, humiliating you for a live audience. I know you're trying, but you are failing.
I'm not doing this for them. I'm actually doing this for you, Nathan.
Oh, thank you. You've done so well.
Axial
If you let me
rotation.
finish, please.
Axial rotation. Tell us why.
Can I just speak for 5 minutes and then I'll...
Oh, what? You want me to hand over control of my show to a dipshit who doesn't know what science is? 5 straight minutes? Yeah, okay. Can you come round and suckle on my testicles for 5 minutes in exchange?
I don't understand why you're being so rude,
happens when
man.
you just
I've been
Google
so
something.
calm and collected and nice to you.
And it would be ideal if you had control of the mic for 5 straight minutes to talk complete nonsense.
Oh, I haven't been able to finish.
Yeah, you get 3 words in and it gets ripped to shreds. That's right.
Because I haven't been able to finish.
Oh, you're so high-pitched. Do you hear anybody sympathising with you? Other than the
It's like
white
pushing a kid
knight.
down a bike with no training wheels on and going, well, he can't ride a bike. You haven't let me finish.
What?
What?
Wait, so let me get it right. In analogy, you're saying it's like being on a bike. Well, what's happened for you on this training bike is you've ridden into a motorway and now you're dead. So should I just let that happen? So I should just watch that, right? I shouldn't hold you back at the point that you're about to kill yourself. No. When you say experiment, I should let you wander off into La La Land, equivalent to a motorway with a child on a bicycle.
I'm sorry, but if you're coming to the plate and giving words, you should know what words mean. I'm just spitting out nonsense.
Clear as
I'm
mud.
sorry, I can't actually hear you.
You said you should know what
He's
the words
saying-
you use mean.
Yeah.
When you say experiment, you should know what that means. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
The name of it is just called the experiment. It's like...
Yeah, incorrectly. It's a fraud. It's a lie. It's not an experiment. If it was, it'd have an IV and DV. When asked what the IV and DV were, you told us that the phenomena being studied was light. You're an idiot. You don't know what experiment means. So much so that when people pull the wool over your eyes and claim pseudoscience as experimentation, you believe them and then tell me I'm wrong about it. That's just stupidity and ignorance. Being corrected by a flat earther for a live audience. Fun.
No evidence for distance to the sun, Nathan.
Fair enough.
None whatsoever. But I bet this guy knows.
How do you have a distance to non-tangible object?
A distance to a non-tangible object would not be acquirable, Flatsoid. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No scientific evidence.
Oh, this guy really wants to try. Yes, scientific evidence of
he's so
gravity.
smart.
You haven't even let me finish my other thing.
Sorry,
You
we've
came
just
in on that-
established with a live audience that you do not understand what science is. That much is absolutely clear. So you are the last person to answer this question in regards to scientific validity to the reification fallacy of gravity. You don't know what science is. So you're definitely not going to be able to present me with scientific evidence of gravity. You don't know what that is. Any scientific
I
evidence of
totally
gravity?
agree with you on that part.
You need to sit down and
quite
shut up.
frankly, I don't
Sit
care.
down and shut up. Go to sleep. Go on, sod off to bed. You're an idiot.
Nah.
You're useless, and you keep interrupting. Yeah, you don't know what science is, so you've got no point in this conversation.
He doesn't even know
sorry,
axial
but I'm not the one
rotation.
strong.
If you're not
with
going to
it.
shut up, I'm going to mute you.
Gravity.
Do you not understand? Sit down and shut up. You've got nothing to offer. That doesn't mean reply. It's rhetorical. It means sit down and shut up. Put yourself on mute. You've got nothing further to offer. In the future, definitely not on a question regarding scientific evidence. You may have something to offer, but you definitely don't have anything to offer in this regard. You've just been pulled to pieces in terms of your complete lack of scientific acumen. So shut up. Rhetorical, don't reply. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
None whatsoever. And they've had plenty of time.
No, the PhDs keep running away from even trying to give us a null.
Actually, might as well plug this. So, just before the show started, I was editing down, or attempting to edit down, yesterday's discussion regarding Thunderfoot Clown and the greasy lawyer that is Rumpus, and his discussion with us about the elastic collisions that gas experiences and the inelastic collisions of a solid bonded bouncy ball. That was nice and clear and concise by Rumpus when detailing how a solid bonded bouncy ball is not analogous to unbonded gas. Now, he cleared it all up for us. Thank you very much indeed, Rumpus. But contextually, it took 40 minutes. Now, everything in it was important, so I didn't hack it down. I mean, I edited out a little bit of swearing here and there, but 99% of the full context, the full video, is there unedited. I say that it has got some edits. But while I was doing it, I thought there's no way anybody potentially will get the full gist unless they listen to all 40 minutes. So what I went on to do is edit it down to about 4 minutes. Now, while I say everything in it is important, it is, but the utmost important points got edited into the beginning section prior to the intro reel rolling. So that particular video I'll probably release sometime after this live show finishes. I've named it already. I think I put it as A Very Bad Day for Thunderfoot - Outer Space is Fake. But that video, as I say, will have a abridged version, if you will, or a shortened version, sorry, at the beginning, and then the full rendition of the whole discussion with context, with Adam Meakin talking about elastic collisions, me talking about intermolecular bonds, Rumpus agreeing. It was great. But that will go out as a separate video. But if you look at it after it's premiered and go, oh wow, 40-minute or 43-minute, it ended up being longer because I strapped that onto the beginning. If you see it, just think, okay, well, now you know, if you're watching this bit at least, that if you haven't got time to watch a full 40-minute rendition of something you may have watched already because it went out live yesterday, the first 3 minutes is just the main points, or the most important points condensed down at the beginning, right at the beginning. It's starting immediately at the beginning of that video. So that'll be released soon, just to contextualize this as we're moving through housekeeping questions. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No.
Nope.
My favorite housekeeping question, and it's definitely a no.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Too much presupposing.
Yeah, I agree.
That
with
just
Flat.
sounds silly.
In that case, that's the conclusion of housekeeping.
Almost.
Not bad.
This guy that came on, that's on mute, hopefully, till he wakes up from his delirious heliocentric model. Light comes in at funny angles. It diverges. Don't believe what the heliocentric priests tell you, that it comes in parallel lines. We've all been outside and we see how the sun rays diverge. They're not far away. They're not light years away. They don't come in parallel lines. They diverge. Everyone's seen pictures of it. And yet they want to deny their own eyes and believe the priests. So forget your parallax. The question was on axial rotation, and he immediately went to the stars and how far they are away. Well, if they are that far away, then we would never see the funny angles diverging rays of light. So you lose right there.
Well, you do know Seek Truth, Speak Truth is actually claiming ice wall now.
Oh God, who's this?
A glober.
Ice wall? What's that?
He's a glober, and he's claiming he can see the sun behind an ice wall.
What?
Kind of contradictory, isn't it?
I saw your text. Why don't you give us context for it? Because I did read it.
Talking to
Well,
Flatsoid.
first he boiled the kettle for over 2 minutes. saying he can destroy flat Earth in a few seconds. And then at the end of the thing, he just put a photo up with the sun behind an ice shelf. And his claim is the sun is behind the ice wall. So I'm telling him, so you claiming an ice wall now, that's his proof of ice wall, then how can he claim a globe? It's kind of contradictory.
Okay. So okay, now I understand the context, because I watched that video too and I didn't really get it. So he's saying, look, the sun's behind a physical obstruction. Yeah, it is. So what? Does that make the horizon a non-physical location, the edge of an Earth curve?
Yeah, but he's claiming that's the ice wall on a flat Earth. Understand? He's making a positive claim for, and he's a glober. He doesn't.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, I understand that there are flat earthers out there who claim there's an ice wall. We're not them. Well, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I just pointed out to him, the sun goes down in the distance, and the topography blocks the light.
Okay, the guy seems like a numpty. I mean, I'm sure I've crossed paths with him before when he's made me an advert. Or is he just another amalgamation of all of the other fundies who make us adverts? Maybe I've never come across him before, I don't know.
He's Conspiracy Cat's news pet.
What?
That explains it.
Yes, he's Conspiracy Cat's new pet. We can say it's like they're mentoring him. Because he used to be a so-called flat earther, but I already called him out saying he was never a flat earther because he keeps calling it the pizza planet. And no, not one flat earther I've ever known has ever called it a pizza planet.
You're in the weeds, man. I love it. So if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to Flatsoid Effie. He's in there, man. He's in the swamp. He's in the dirt.
I thought he was in the bush.
He's in the trenches with the fundies.
That was good. That was good, Neil. He's in the bush, but he's branching out to the swamp.
On Fundy Rumblings. Go ahead, whoever that was in Discord.
Nathan, are you alright if I ask you a question?
Sure.
Oh, goodness.
Oh boy.
So you don't believe in an ice wall or anything, do you?
What ice wall? What ice wall?
I'm just like it's on some like majority of the Earth maps and stuff.
You mean sphere Earth projections?
Yeah, the ones that are based off those.
Yeah. So your sphere Earth projections sometimes put an ice wall if you project from the centre of the North Pole. That's fascinating. It's just a projection.
Do you believe in them?
Agree with what? Maps. We don't live on a map.
There's ice walls.
No, we don't live on a map.
No, not.
No. Maps aren't the terrain.
Because I was going to say, you're able to get trips to Antarctica as a holiday thing. I was going to say it's a pretty silly argument when you can go there and have a look at it yourself.
Yeah. There's a place in existence called Antarctica. I did an interview with a guy who spent 18 months down there, pretty much consecutively. So what's your point?
Oh, okay.
What's that got to do with an ice wall? I don't follow.
That's what I was asking. Because I've seen a lot of flat earthers.
You asked me if I didn't believe in an ice wall, and I said, what ice wall? What ice wall are you talking about? I don't understand what
There isn't an ice wall.
That's why I asked. I was asking for your opinion.
All right.
Hey, can we get back to your total train wreck on axial rotation? So you thinking the Earth is turning under those stars? Is that a yes or no?
Yeah, I guess you could put it that way.
No.
Hold on.
Please.
No. You can put it that way. It's your claim he's clarifying. So he's not putting it that way. Do you put it that way, given it's your claim on a globe Earth, and it's precisely as per the globe Earth claim?
Well, I just think of it more of a Earth turning in the universe. But yeah,
Right. So Earth is turning, and is the universe made of those stars?
it's not made of them, but it's got them in it.
Okay, so when the Earth is turning in your universe, per your claim, are the stars turning, or is the Earth turning to give you the visual of things moving?
The Earth.
Earth what?
The Earth is moving to give you that.
The Earth's turning
What?
underneath the stars.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, it's spinning in space.
Thank you. Go ahead, 10th.
Okay, is that the 15 degrees that we experience of the sun moving overhead is caused by the Earth turning at 15 degrees and not the sun?
Yes, correct.
Okay, well, you have a big problem now. Because then airplane flights should be shorter, and drones and everything else that are not attached to the Earth, we should see what? Earth-based Coriolis, right? But we don't.
Because it doesn't affect them to such an extent.
Well, no. If the Earth is turning and you're not attached to the Earth, and the Earth is turning at 15 degrees an hour, it's going to be the same effect.
Have you ever flown a drone in a car?
Coriolis is observed from the ground. So, are you saying that we wouldn't expect to see Coriolis effect from the ground as things rotate underneath, as Earth rotates underneath things at 15 degrees an hour? Are you saying we wouldn't expect to see that? Because that's the globe Earth claim that you're saying we wouldn't expect to see. Because if so, welcome to stationary.
Not as distinctly as you think.
Again.
Not as distinctly as you would think.
Well, it's claimed to be 15 degrees an hour. It's very specific. It's very distinct according to the globe Earth claim. Are you saying that doesn't happen?
Yes, but
well, we agree. we agree.
Coriolis effect.
So we wouldn't expect to see Coriolis effect as claimed by the globe. Welcome to stationary Earth. No, we agree. We wouldn't expect to see that effect. Globe Earth claims.
This is why I chose my words very specifically. You would, but not to the extent that you think you would.
What extent we think we would? No, we don't. I clarified that too. It's your claim, and it's specifically 15 degrees an hour. That's what you expect on your globe Earth, and you're telling us how you don't expect to see it. And we agree. We don't expect to see Coriolis deviation, and we don't have an expectation for how much of it we'd see. You do. 15 degrees an hour, drift, as Earth turns underneath stuff not attached. But you're telling us all about how you wouldn't expect to see that.
It's because planes and things are in the same rotation.
Are you deaf? We covered this too. Coriolis is observed from the ground as you turn underneath stuff. That's where you observe Coriolis, not from a plane. Of the plane as you turn underneath it. That's how you get Coriolis. You turning underneath stuff not attached. Do you not understand that? Why do you keep talking about what the plane's doing? The observation is not actual deflection. So the actual path of the plane is irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant is that you're turning underneath it to cause 15 degrees an hour deflection on a globe Earth that turns, and we don't experience that. We're not turning underneath aeroplanes or hot air balloons or drones or anything else for that matter, even though the claim is definitely that. Neil deGrasse Tyson claims it with a football. Leaves Earth's surface, and it's claimed that Earth turns underneath it to cause a field goal. Or snipers, that they claim you've got to account for the 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth underneath the bullet. That's a globe Earth claim that we debunk when we point out that nothing's turning underneath. We don't have 15 degrees an hour, and you're telling us the same. Well, it's not to the extent that you would expect. Well, who's expecting it? You are. What's it expected to be? 15 degrees an hour, and you're telling us we wouldn't expect that, right? Yeah, welcome to stationary Earth.
Because it's surprisingly minuscule to what you guys think it is.
I don't think there is any. You think there's 15 degrees an hour as Earth turns underneath to cause Coriolis effect. Why do you keep telling us about what we would expect? It's your claim. I made that absolutely clear right at the start of this. Don't make it his claim and what he would expect or what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting any. And you're telling us that you don't expect any either. So we're in agreement. No Coriolis effect on an Earth because we're not turning.
Saying there is, but it's minuscule.
It's 15 degrees an hour in your claim, and we just don't experience it. What do you mean minuscule? It's 15 degrees an hour in your claim, but that would mean Earth's turning underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour. We know what the amount is. It's not minuscule, it's 15 degrees an hour. And that would massively shorten flights when travelling west. So a Charlotte, North Carolina to LA flight, which takes 4.5 hours in reality, would have Earth turning underneath it about 800 miles an hour, and the flight would only take an hour and a half. We're talking about minuscule. You'd definitely notice that, if Earth was turning underneath, that is.
But it's
Does he understand how much?
That's what I'm saying.
Pardon?
I'm saying it's not happening to that extent. You're
It's
misunderstanding.
not happening at all. It should happen to that extent, 15 degrees an hour. It's not happening at all.
Excuse me. How come it happens off of a roundabout, but it doesn't happen on the Earth that's going at much faster speeds?
Yeah, I
It's a
seen it the other
difference.
day live in a car. I seen it.
That's
Yeah,
because
Neil was going in the roundabout with his car, and he was looking at a plane that was flying straight. But as he was going on the turn in the roundabout, the plane looked like it was going in a different path. So that, as well as a little roundabout, we see the lamppost appear to curve, but it's in concrete. But you're saying the Earth is minuscule?
Not 1,000 miles to the equator is not minuscule. You'd notice that.
the size comparison you've just made is accurate. Because essentially what you've just done is you've just driven. So if the Earth was the same size as the roundabout, your plane would be half the scale of the Earth.
So, your Coriolis effect is stuff appearing to move because you're claimed to turn underneath it. For example, the sun or the stars, as per your example. Are they only moving a minuscule amount as they move because we're turning underneath them, claimed to be 1,000 miles an hour at the equator? Because that's the effect, right? You seeing them seem to move. Yeah, well, that's the effect, though, isn't it? That's Earth turning underneath them, though, isn't it? But you're saying it's a minuscule effect, and I've just detailed how a Charlotte, North Carolina to LA flight would be shortened to an hour and a half from 4.5 hours. That's not minuscule, but that would happen if Earth was turning underneath the plane.
You've just described to me the experiment which you've done.
Not an experiment. Dumb fuck. Stop saying that word, please.
It's an observation, you moron.
Coriolis is real,
Calculate
and we'd see it as a 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth underneath stuff not attached if it was happening on Earth. That would mean Earth was turning underneath aeroplanes at 15 degrees an hour, and it doesn't. You think
Look, you lost on
Go on.
you lost on Coriolis already. You lost on Earth curve. How much do you want to get pummeled today?
Well, I'm telling
The
you,
sad
your
thing is
numbers
he
are wrong.
thinks he's correct.
Whose numbers? Whose numbers are wrong?
From the observation, your ratios and your size comparison is out of whack.
He's not comparing it to anything. He's saying he observed Coriolis effect. What are you talking about? What comparison? Oh, you mean your comparison, where you assume Earth has this effect he's detailing? Yeah, he's not making that comparison, you are, because you claim Earth has Coriolis effect. Now, how much you claim Coriolis effect is, you're saying your scale doesn't match his scale, because you're the one claiming Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour, but simultaneously seeming to make it out like he's making the comparison to your claim that Earth turns underneath stuff in the same way Neil turned underneath an aeroplane when on a roundabout. Well, Neil did experience Coriolis, that's real, and he's not comparing it to anything. And you're saying, when I compare it to my assumption that Earth spins, well, that's your comparison, my friend. Can you stop reversing the burden of proof, please?
I'm comparing it to your assumption of what I'm thinking.
Oh, it's my assumption of what you're thinking. So not only am I clairvoyant, I'm telepathic and projecting out what you're thinking. That's how it's my claim, is it? Oh my God! No! Let's just get it absolutely clear. Just for people like Simon Dan and this clown here. This isn't my claim. I don't claim any rate of Earth turning underneath. Earth doesn't turn underneath. If it did, we'd have Coriolis deflection. Your claim. Now, I'm not claiming any rate or any comparison or anything to do with Earth having Coriolis. You are. Now, when you debunk the fact that we don't see that effect, or tell me that you and your reference frames are ruined, they're not mine. They're yours. I just want to make that absolutely clear for every other fundy who comes here that thinks that I've got some comparative claim in terms of Coriolis and what Earth does. Because I don't. You do, though, and we pummel it daily now by pointing out that you're supposed to have 15 degrees an hour of it, and have idiots like this guy tell us that it's a minuscule amount when it would shorten a flight from an hour and a half when it's a 4.5 hour flight. Well, that's not minuscule, that's a massive noticeable difference that we don't experience because Earth isn't turning underneath as per your claim that it is. Not my comparison that's incorrect in its analogy. I'm not making one, it's your globehead claim that we don't experience in reality.
The reason we're not experiencing these flight times because
Flight times are actual movement of planes. Coriolis is observed from the ground. Why are you now talking about the actual path of the plane when Earth is claimed to have Coriolis deflection? That's only observed from the ground. Don't tell me about the actual path. You're too stupid to realise that Coriolis deflection is not actual, only apparent. As Neil turned under that plane, it looked like it curved, but it didn't really. So don't tell me about what the plane's doing, you dumbo. Coriolis is not actual deflection observed as you turn underneath stuff. That would mean to have it on Earth, you've got to be attached to it to observe it, and you've got to be turning underneath stuff. It's just that simple. And it just doesn't happen. Earth isn't turning underneath anything. We'd notice.
we were talking about the lamppost in the roundabout.
Mumble. Can you speak up and speak clearly?
I was being that's on me because I was vague about what I was trying to clarify. So I was trying to talk about the roundabout lamppost in relation to that. I wasn't talking about. I was saying that the scale of your roundabout observation and your car does not correlate with that of an aeroplane and the world. It's not the same.
Yeah, because there's actual deflection in Neil's example, and there isn't any on the Earth. So yeah, it's not comparable. Thank you. Welcome to stationary Earth. That's correct. Neil's example is Coriolis. Earth doesn't have that. They're not comparable. Thank you very much. Welcome to stationary Earth. Earth that turns should have Coriolis. But as you say, it's not comparable to a demonstration of Coriolis. Thanks. Yeah, Earth doesn't have Coriolis effect.
I'm saying it doesn't correlate because your size scale is wrong.
Well, doesn't make any difference. Scale, 15 degrees an hour is 15 degrees an hour regardless of where you are on a turning Earth. The only thing that would change would be the vast rim velocity that you would have on the equator. That would be 1,000 miles an hour, and you'd notice that.
But you're already part of that velocity.
Who cares? You're observing something that isn't in Coriolis deflection. Something not actually turning and moving like the plane underneath the roundabout. So it makes no difference, mate. Because the velocity that you're turning at isn't what you're observing. You're observing something seem to drift because it's claimed you're turning underneath it. And you're saying, well, that doesn't happen because of scale. Well, it should happen at 15 degrees an hour if we're turning underneath stuff.
I'm saying what you're claiming is incorrect because the way that you are...
Sorry, what I'm claiming... Am I claiming Coriolis? Hello, Dumbo. How many times have I got to explain that this isn't my claim?
Doesn't High Priest Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about a deflection of a football?
Yeah. Deflection. That's him claiming Earth turns underneath a football. Of course, that would shorten flight times when travelling west, because it would mean Earth's turning underneath aeroplanes. It'd mean that the blimp filming the game would have to be very concerned about Earth turning underneath it at whatever rate that particular latitude has Earth turning underneath it, because it's turning underneath a football, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, so it would turn underneath the blimp that's filming the game at the exact same rate. Obviously, with a blimp being in the air for a lot longer than a football, you'd notice, because it would land in a different country.
It doesn't affect it. Because you're...
Oh, it doesn't affect it. Yeah, welcome to stationary Earth. There is no Coriolis effect. That's right, it doesn't affect it on a turning Earth because we're not turning. So what, you're going to launch into how it doesn't affect it? It should at 15 degrees an hour. It's claimed it does by Neil deGrasse Tyson at 15 degrees an hour, and now you're telling us about how it doesn't affect it, right? Welcome to stationary Earth.
Hey, Neil, was your car attached to the Earth when you were driving it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And what scale would that be at?
Actual size.
See, the problem with ballers is that the minute that their fairy tale is challenged and destroyed by logic, they are in cognitive dissonance. And then they make up stuff as they go. Well, the plane and the scale and this and that. Yeah, but we're not talking about the plane. We're talking about the observer on the Earth. The apparent deflection. The plane's going straight. What are we talking about? If the Earth is turning like you said, you're going to have Earth-based Coriolis. We don't have Earth-based Coriolis,
Yes.
so then the Earth is not spinning. That's simple.
I'll ask you this question. How fast do clouds move?
What's that got to do with anything?
I have no idea what
Clouds
that has to
experience
do with
Coriolis.
anything. Thank you, Nathan.
Clouds experience Coriolis. No, they don't. Coriolis effect is observed from a rotating platform as you observe things not attached to the rotating platform. Clouds do not experience Coriolis effect. If you're about to detail actual paths of clouds, you don't understand Coriolis, as explained earlier to you at length. It's a not actual deflection. So when Neil explained that he looked at the plane and it looked like it curved, it didn't. Because Coriolis is not actual deflection. Are you now going to tell us about the actual path of clouds when Coriolis is not actual deflection? You're too stupid to know what Coriolis is. At this point, I think you should shut up. Don't tell us about actual paths of clouds, idiot.
If you don't want to hear what I have to say, I'm just going to...
You've just told me clouds are affected by Coriolis. That's unbelievably stupid because Coriolis is an observational effect. Do clouds have eyeballs?
You're doing
Yeah,
a
you
good
dumb
job
fuck.
for your baller friends. They must love you.
You stupid idiot. It's an observational effect of not actual drift, and you're telling me clouds experience it? Well, then they'd need eyeballs.
Doesn't mean they're still not affected by it.
Oh, really? It's an observational effect observed by someone on a non-inertial, that's a spinning platform. You observing something from a spinning platform, that's Coriolis. So clouds, are they attached to non-inertial spinning reference frame observing things? If not, it's not Coriolis, you just don't understand what you're talking about.
It's still a part of the reference frame. That's the thing.
Oh, really? And they're observing not actual drift, are they, with their eyeballs?
He doesn't know what
Yeah.
Coriolis
Yeah,
is.
so-
That's
No,
the
he doesn't.
problem. They've used...
Hasn't got a clue. Thick. Like most of them don't know what Coriolis is.
If you were right, why are you picking on me?
You've come to me! You've come here! Are you having me on? I haven't asked you and invited you. I've invited anybody into this bar. You've walked up to the bartender and told him how wrong he is. That was your entrance.
I actually walked up to the bartender and said,
And
Are you
told me
picking
that
on
you
me?
didn't agree with me. That you disagreed. So you walked up to the bartender and told him he was wrong.
politely.
Oh, really? So you were ultra polite when you told him he was wrong and then had your incorrect assumptions laid out for you, which you didn't concede. You behaved like a dick. You talked through non-stop. You had to have it pointed out, 11 or 12 times that the horizon's not physical. Yet some assumption and fundy belief that you've walked into the bar with, like some Bible-touting fundy.
This guy,
Yeah.
do you hold a job? Do you have logic just for daily life?
Well, I haven't died yet, so I'm doing pretty well.
No, I understand, but your logic, it seems like you don't understand logic and fallacies. You're just talking in circles. And then you say, why are you picking on me? You came to the show. You had a chance to put out your argument. You started off with fallacies and begging the question. The host of the show calls you out on it, stops you, addresses it, and says, now start over. If you're going to use the word experiment, do it in the proper way. You keep tripping over yourself, and then you say, why are you picking on me? Are you kidding me?
Able to progress, because you guys keep getting it wrong. You keep...
Sorry, we keep getting it wrong. That in a bar would get you a punch in the face, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he get grasped.
Yeah. So you just need to educate us, do I? Yeah, you need to tell us how we're wrong. How unbelievably arrogant after we've educated you in science and how you don't understand it. Pointed out your errors and assumptions, your fundy belief. But after all of that, you're going to tell us how we just don't understand. Yeah, in a bar, that would be a men crowding around you, going to kick your ass. That's what's going to happen when you do that. And you hold up your Bible and go, you just don't understand my fundy belief that I'm telling you about that you've ripped to shreds. You've stepped into this ring, mate. You've lifted the ropes and got in the ring. And then after you've been pummeled, you go, why are you picking on me? You walked into the ring. That's why.
Because we're having a discussion.
No, I think I know
don't
what's going on. He wants us to let him have 10 minutes to just talk all of this nonsense that we've heard a million times already.
Yeah. If he can make his nonsense assertions and fundy beliefs make it to air, he'll feel a bit better because he'll have people agreeing with him. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, horizon is physical. Yeah. The way lenses bend in rooms. Yeah, that means I think the horizon's physical.
Right. Tell that
What
to
don't I
your
understand? Why is it
1/5 of a fucking fan base that doesn't even support you. 4/5, sorry, that doesn't support your beliefs. Have you
What's
seen
that
your
got
comment
to do
section?
with
Beliefs.
you
Who
falling
cares?
apart on the debate show?
Who cares? They're just beliefs.
Exactly. No actual evidence.
Yeah.
I hope you have a lovely afternoon, or whatever time it is over there. I'm fucking shattered.
Thank
and I'm going
goodness.
to bed.
Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
you got
Go to bed.
annihilated. Yeah, you didn't have any evidence. You definitely didn't have any science. You didn't even have a basic scientific acumen. You didn't have any proof C's. You had just had your fundy belief that you came into the bar spouting, hoping that the bartender would tolerate it. And the bartender didn't tolerate it, kicked your ass.
Look the definition of a debate up, and then you'd know how it works.
I run a debate show. I have done for a number of years. Now, people don't like that when they get here, they see it as unfair. Because what do they get when they get here? Well, they get me. And suddenly that's unfair and people are getting picked on when they come to me.
It's funny. It's funny.
You know how the
showed
show
up-
starts? I'm sorry, Ted, but it says, welcome to Flat Earth Debate.
Well, he comes on a debate show and says this is not a debate show.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
this is
Rumpus. It's like, I can't remember the question I asked him. If I can cast my memory back. I asked him if solid had intermolecular bonds. And he said it wasn't important. And when it got to me asking him why he hasn't answered the question, because it isn't important, doesn't say, I understand that they do have intermolecular bonds. I understand that they don't have intermolecular bonds. I don't understand at all. It doesn't give any of that information. But at the point that he said, oh, that doesn't matter, a clear as crystal hand wave dismissal, when I pointed out that it does matter, it's actually the demolition of your argument that you're hand waving, what he did was talk through it and claim that I didn't know how to debate. So he hand waves off the summary that he's actually got to hear at that point, because he hasn't managed to talk through it when it's been put to him on that occasion. His response is, it doesn't matter. Not yes, not no, not I don't understand. In other words, not a debate response, a hand wave. And then he went on to project that he is actually the one that doesn't know how to debate, but tells me that I'm the one who doesn't, because he's reached the point that he can't combat the argument and hand waves it. This guy's no different. He's got annihilated. So what's his response? Oh, it wasn't really a debate. No, it was. You just lost.
Well, when you're on the lion side, you lose sleep.
well, he's trying to catch a big nap right now, I think.
Yeah, you come here to feel better about your beliefs by hopefully getting them out on air. And, yeah, moan all you like that when you say, oh, I've got an experiment and I know already that it isn't. Yeah, you're going to get stopped in your tracks. Bleat all day about it. Tell me how on a neutral platform that wouldn't happen. Yeah, that's right. The neutral platform would allow that nonsense to spurt out of the fundy's mouth for 10 straight minutes. And upon replying to it for 20 seconds, that I would get muted, I would get talked through, and that fundy zealotry would make it to air uninterrupted and unchallenged. Go on, whoever that was in Discord. Go on, Discord, whoever that was, feel free.
Yeah, he tried, but he didn't. He doesn't want to finish. I think they misunderstand the rules of the show. This is about science and the scientific method and evidence. And they come in here trying to get around those rules. Now, I being a Christian, and I do believe in the Bible and it's inspired, I don't bring that on here and say I could prove that through the scientific method because it doesn't apply to it. So I don't even go there. It's more on the evidence-based method, like a court of law. But these guys, when it comes to the nature of the earth, and they're saying they got all the science, well, we're saying, show it to us, show it to us. This is what the show is about. It's about science. Show us the dependent variable, independent variable, control variables. We want to see it. And they die. So yeah, keep up the good work, Nathan.
Actually going to do a quick plug to my GoFundMe campaign, as this is a Friday show, so over the weekend there aren't any live shows, but the Uncut and After show does get staggered out on Nathan Oakley 1980. Now, if that's obviously the case, I can't shout you out if you do support my GoFundMe campaign, but I'll give a quick plug to it now. If you do happen to donate to it, make sure you set the tip amount to 0. You just go into the tab, set other, set the amount to 0, and then the full amount that you contribute will actually go to the campaign. If indeed you can't afford to support the campaign, or you're not all that interested in giving me money for whatever reason, then simply go and share the campaign if you would be so obliged. I'd be very thankful for that. So that's my finishing off my YouTube studio, which has been a 9-month project, which I really want to bring to a close so I can move on to other things, and hopefully I'll receive some support from the community so I can actually do that. I'll put a quick link in the live stream chat, and if you're watching this after the fact on Sunday, or if you're a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, then I'll put a link in the comments and info box below this video. With that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both to Google and Discord for making today's live show possible. If you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.